Hello, babes. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video, I wanted to discuss Gretchen Wieners' character in the movie Mean Girls. So let's get into it. So many people who watched Mean Girls viewed Gretchen Wieners as insecure, which she absolutely was.
I mean, you wouldn't buy a skirt without asking your friends first if it looks good on you. I wouldn't.
But insecurity wasn't her real problem. Gretchen wasn't necessarily afraid of Regina. She was afraid of not being chosen. And that's a very different kind of desperation. She was a pick-me, but a pick-me for Regina, not for men. Well, then again, she kind of was a pick-me for men because that guy Jason. But anyways, that's not the point. When we meet Gretchen, she's a part of the Plastics. Regina is clearly the leader. Karen is more quiet and go with the flow. Honestly, Karen doesn't even fully embody the whole mean girl thing. She just fits the aesthetic. Regina keeps girls like Karen close because she sees potential competition the same way she immediately clocked something in Katie that Katie didn't even see in herself, which is beauty and the potential to be a popular it girl. But Gretchen is different. Gretchen gossips, she reports back, she performs loyalty, she does whatever keeps her in Regina's good graces. She has the money, the beauty, the fashion, arguably the best style in the group, yet she still needs Regina's validation to feel secure.
Who's that from? Thanks for being such a great friend. Love, Regina. That's so sweet.
Okay.
When Katie tells her she likes Aaron, Gretchen runs straight to Regina. It's not as though Katie knew the full history. She's new to the school. She doesn't know about who this guy has dated. She just happens to think that he was cute and she had a crush on him. Gretchen had already mentioned he was Regina's ex, so Katie was like, okay, he's off limits. But the urgency to report it back wasn't about morality. It was about proximity to power. She wanted to be useful. She wanted to be rewarded for her loyalty. Because Gretchen wasn't just mean for sport. She was mean when it protected her position. When Katie points out that Gretchen just likes attention, she's not entirely wrong, and I agree with her because, girl, why did you feel the need to tell Regina that?
Aren't you so mad at Gretchen for telling me?
I'm not mad. I mean, I guess she just likes the attention.
See, Gretchen, I told you she's not mad at you.
I can't believe you think I like attention. Oh.
And then look, Regina snitched on you and said, oh, Gretchen told me. Like, girl, you did all of that just for Regina to put you two against each other. Regina also did that so that Gretchen and Katie wouldn't form a bond. Regina knew in doing that it would cause Katie to not trust Gretchen and that she would never let her guard down. Regina also wanted to let her know, don't think you could ever talk about me or do anything in regards to me and it won't get back to me. When Katie points out that Gretchen just likes attention, she's not entirely wrong. Gretchen thrives on being acknowledged, not just by Regina. Even in her relationship, she needs reassurance. And in a relationship is not bad. You do need reassurance at some point and within your relationship. However, her identity is tied to being validated. Being part of the popular group boosts her self-esteem, it gives her structure, and it gave her worth.
I'm always on your left.
And right now you're getting on my last nerve. Switch.
But what's sad is that she already had everything she needed to stand on her own. She was beautiful, wealthy, fashion forward, outspoken when she wanted to be, but confidence requires internal stability, and Miss Gretchen didn't have that. Being a young girl and feeling like you have to belong to survive socially isn't new. This is something we've all seen and some of us have dealt with within school or wherever the case may be. However, not all of us have experienced that, but a lot have. But when belonging requires you to belittle others, that usually reflects something deeper, like insecurity, emotional neglect, and unstable identity. We know Gretchen comes from wealth, likely busy parents who were possibly emotionally distant, similar to Regina in some ways, where they both came from money, but their parents weren't really active as parents. Especially when validation isn't modeled in healthy ways at home. And when attention is inconsistent, you grow up chasing it. And where Gretchen chases it is at school. And the most telling moment is when Regina starts freezing her out and forming a bond with Katie. Gretchen isn't angry at first, she's panicked. She's crying out to be let back in, not literally, of course, but by her actions. Her breakdown isn't just about betrayal and feeling like Regina owes her the same loyalty she gives her, but it's about abandonment. She's not losing a friend, she's losing the person who made her feel chosen. Like I stated before, when you're not getting that validation, attention, and love from home, you'll go and seek it out in others, and it's not always in the form of romantic relationships, it could be friendships as well. When Regina embarrasses her at the talent show, she then becomes extremely angry. And I know y'all remember our girl going clean off in that classroom about Caesar.
Brutus is just as smart as Caesar. People totally like Brutus just as much as they like Caesar. And when did it become okay for one person to be the boss of everybody, huh?
But even in that anger, she still wants Regina's validation and approval. And even after breaking away from Regina, what does she do? She looks for another leader, someone else to validate her. When they got Regina off her throne, who did they look to? They looked to Katie. Because the issue was never Regina specifically, it was Gretchen's inability to self-validate. What Gretchen didn't realize, much like the other girls in the group, is that Regina thrived on making them want her validation. She would be cold, then suddenly warm, and they would chase that shift. That push and pull is what kept them attached to her. Much like women who date men who are emotionally unavailable and they know that but still chase it because he'll give her attention for a short while and then pull back because he needs you for an ego boost. Much like Regina needed the girls for an ego boost. And listen, if this were a reality show and Regina saw Gretchen becoming popular, people repeating "that's so fetch," treating her like a fan favorite, oh, Miss Girl would have spiraled. We see it all the time with some of these reality stars who hate the fan favorites and do everything in their power to break them and make the fans stop liking them. Regina definitely would have started plotting because that's what Regina does. We see it with Katie and we see smaller versions of it with Gretchen, like taking her earrings, a Christmas gift from her parents, which she more than likely learned from her mother, Miss Regina. It was about control and power. It was about reminding Gretchen that nothing she had was fully hers and that Regina could take it at any moment. She created an environment where the other girls felt guilty for having anything. Attention, gifts, confidence, and then pulled them back down so that she could stay on top. And that's where things get complicated with Gretchen because while she was chasing validation, she was also participating in the system that hurt other people. She didn't mind the hierarchy when she wasn't at the bottom of it. She engaged in the gossip, the exclusion, the cruelty, as long as it protected her position. And that's where we lose a little bit of the sympathy because the reality is girls like Gretchen don't just suffer under that system, they help maintain it and keep the cycle going, and they also feel superior in it. And for the people on the receiving end of that kind of treatment in high school, those experiences don't just disappear, they stick and create social anxiety, depression, and many other things that last them for a long time. So yes, Gretchen wanted validation. Yes, she was operating from insecurity, but she also made the choice to be a part of something that hurt other people. Now, in a world where popularity is currency and proximity to power determines your worth, Gretchen represents the girl who survives by attaching herself to whoever sits at the top. Not because she's incapable, not because she isn't smart, but because belonging feels safer than standing alone. And high school magnifies everything: status, beauty, attention, approval, you name it. And for someone like Gretchen, being chose by the queen feels like protection, identity, and stability, because if you're on the side of the popular girl, the queen bee, then you yourself also inherit some of their power and protection. And also, not every popular, beautiful girl is mean, because that's a narrative that annoys me, and some people like to project that onto people out of jealousy. However, that is the case with Regina. But that hierarchy is fragile with Gretchen. The moment Regina shifts, the moment the attention disappears, Gretchen crumbles because her self-worth was not really internal, it was positional. Of course, she wasn't the most evil, she wasn't the most powerful, but she was the most dependent on the system. Gretchen Wieners didn't just want popularity, she wanted to feel secure in a world that told her she only mattered if someone more powerful decided she did. And towards the end of the movie, while she is of course now wearing her hoops and she could move more freely in her wardrobe and how she dresses, she has taken on another identity and is still gossiping. So she still wants some semblance of that world, although she broke away from it. Gretchen didn't really seem to have an identity of her own. After all of the girls break apart, like I said before, they have their own identities and groups and things that they figured out that they loved instead of people telling them what to love. Or maybe that was just who Gretchen truly was. She liked gossiping, she liked being a part of the popular girls, but I do think Gretchen's hunger for validation was what kept her at the hip of Regina for so long. And with that being said, this video has come to an end. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. Also, hype the video. And I will catch you guys in the next one.